The sky above the alien arena burned. A deep blooded heat rose from the ground, and the smell of dust and fear filled the air. Thousands of alien voices shouted from the stands, their chants mixing into a single roar. They had come for one thing: to see a human die. Two massive guards dragged Eli into the arena. His wrists were bound by glowing blue chains that burned his skin every time he moved. His shirt was torn, and his boots were caked with dried mud. Still, his head was up. His eyes scanned the massive circle of sand around him, looking for any way out, but there was none. At the far end of the arena, high above the crowd, sat Lord Varkesh. His throne was made of black steel and alien bones. His skin was dark green, rough like stone, and his eyes glowed yellow. In his right hand he held a golden staff topped with a sharp crystal. But it was what sat at his feet that made the crowd scream in excitement. The beast, it was bigger than any animal Eli had seen. 6 legs, each ending in claws as long as knives. Its mouth was filled with jagged teeth, some broken from battles long past. Its skin was thick and scaled, a mix of black and silver. 2 horns curved from its head, and its glowing red eyes locked on Eli. It growled, a deep rumble that made the sand tremble. Varkesh leaned forward in his throne. His voice boomed through the arena, carried by hidden speakers. Kneel, humanor, become my beast's next meal. The crowd erupted in cheers. Some waved banners with alien symbols. Others simply slammed their fists against the walls, demanding blood. Eli did not kneel. He stood in the center of the sand, shoulders straight, breathing slow. His voice was calm but carried through the air. I'm not food. The crowd gasped. No human had ever spoken to Varkesh like that. Some aliens laughed, thinking Eli was a fool. Others whispered to each other, curious about this human's boldness. Smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. Then you will be nothing but screams and bones. With a wave of his hand, the chains holding the beast snapped loose. The sound was like metal tearing. The beast took one step forward, claws sinking deep into the sand. Its growl grew louder. Echoing through the stands, Eli watched it carefully. Every movement, every sound. He could see the way its muscles shifted, the way its eyes flickered between him and Varkesh. This wasn't just a mindless monster. It was thinking. The crowd chanted, louder, eat him, eat him. The voices pounded in Eli's ears, but he kept his focus. The beast's breath was hot and smelled of blood. Its head lowered, ready to strike. Eli remembered the last time he had seen such a creature. Weeks ago, before his capture, his ship had passed through a remote asteroid field. There, he had heard stories of war beasts bred for killing, creatures that could tear through steel, but only if their masters controlled them. He also remembered something else from those stories. There were ways to break that control. The beast's front paw hit the sand only a meter away from him. The ground shook. Eli took a slow step forward. The crowd screamed at the sight. They had never seen prey walk toward the predator. Easy. Eli whispered, his voice low so only the beast could hear. His eyes never left the creatures. You're not my enemy. The beast tilted its head slightly, as if confused. Its ears twitched from his throne. Varkesh shouted, tear him apart. His voice was sharp, commanding, filled with anger. The beast flinched at the command, but did not move. The crowd's cheers turned to murmurs. Something was wrong. The beast should have attacked by now. Varkesh's yellow eyes narrowed. Now, he roared. The beast lunged. The sand exploded beneath its claws as it closed the gap between them in a single heartbeat. Its jaws opened wide, teeth glinting in the red sunlight. Eli didn't move. He stood completely still. The jaws stopped inches from his face. Hot breath washed over him. The beast growled, low and deep, but it didn't bite. Gasps filled the arena. Some aliens stood up, unable to believe what they were seeing. Eli's lips curled into the smallest of smiles. He spoke again, his voice calm and steady. "I'm not afraid of you." The beast blinked. Slowly, it closed its mouth and stepped back half a pace. From his throne, Varkesh's smile disappeared. For the first time, he looked uncertain. Eli kept his eyes locked on the beast. He could feel it, the faint connection, the understanding. It was weak now, but it was there. Varkesh stood, slamming his staff into the ground. "Kill him. Do it, or I will have you skinned." The beast turned its head slightly, toward its master, and for the briefest moment, its eyes glowed brighter. Eli knew then, this was no ordinary fight. It wasn't man versus beast. It was man versus the will of the warlord who controlled it. The crowd began shouting again, some for Eli, others for Varkesh. The air was electric with tension. The beast growled again, but its claws dug into the sand as if it was holding itself back. Eli's heart pounded, but he didn't let it show. His plan was risky, but if it worked, Varkesh would lose far more than just this fight. Above the arena, the red sky darkened as storm clouds rolled in. The wind picked up, carrying the smell of rain and the taste of something dangerous. Eli took another slow step toward the beast. The storm, the noise, the crowd, it all faded. Only the beast remained in his vision. And then, for just a second, Eli thought he saw it, recognition in the creature's eyes. The arena fell into an uneasy silence. The crowd, moments ago hungry for blood, now shifted in their seats, confused. The beast had stopped its attack, and no one could understand why. Lord Varkesh's yellow eyes burned with fury. He gripped his golden staff so hard that the crystal tip began to hum with power. "Obey me, beast." His voice cracked like thunder. The beast flinched at the sound but did not strike. Instead, it circled Eli, moving with slow, measured steps. Its claws left deep marks in the sand, tracing a perfect ring around the human. Eli's heartbeat was steady now. The fear had not gone, but it was buried under something else, focus. He had read about these war beasts in old human military logs. They were bred by the Kreth Dominion, raised in darkness, trained to obey their master's voice. But every beast had something hidden inside it, something the masters feared. Memory. He remembered the old soldier's words from years ago. If the beast remembers what it was before the leash, it will never kneel again. Eli's eyes followed the beast's every move. He noticed small things, the twitch in its ears when Varkesh shouted, the hesitation in its steps, the way its eyes sometimes drifted away from him to something far away, as if it were remembering. The crowd started chanting again, but this time their voices were uncertain. Some wanted Eli dead. Others were drawn to the strange standoff. Varkesh raised his staff. The crystal flared, and a pulse of red light shot toward the beast. It struck the creature in the chest, and it roared in pain. The sound was deafening. Eli's jaw tightened. He stepped closer to the beast, ignoring the danger. "They control you with pain," he said, softly, almost whispering, "but you don't have to listen." The beast's head lowered, bringing its glowing red eyes level with his. For a moment, it just stared at him. Then Varkesh bellowed again. Finish him. Tear him apart. The beast moved, but not at Eli. It lunged toward the wall of the arena, slamming its massive body against the stone. The impact made the ground shake, and chunks of rock rained down into the sand. The crowd screamed in surprise. Eli understood what was happening. The beast was resisting, but every order from Varkesh was a chain pulling it back. He needed to break that chain completely and quickly. He took a deep breath and began speaking again, slowly and rhythmically. Not in human language, but in the broken, half-forgotten tongue he had learned from intercepted Kreth transmissions. The beast froze. Its ears pricked up. The words were clumsy, but the meaning was clear. You are not his. You are free. Varkesh's face twisted in shock. What are you saying to it, human? Eli ignored him. He kept repeating the words, each time with more strength. The beast growled, but the sound had changed. It was no longer a predator's hunger, but something deeper. The guards along the edge of the arena shifted nervously. They had seen beasts turn before, and it always ended in blood. Varkesh roared in frustration and struck his staff against the ground again. Another wave of red light shot into the beast's body. This time, the creature stumbled, its claws scraping across the sand. Eli moved quickly, placing himself between the beast and the warlord's throne. He looked straight into the creature's eyes. Fight it, he said. Fight him. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then, with a sudden burst of energy, the beast swung its head toward the guards instead of Eli. Its jaws snapped shut around the nearest alien soldier, lifting him into the air like a doll. The crowd exploded into chaos, some cheering, others running for the exits. Eli stepped back, the beast now at his side. Dust swirled in the air as the creature roared toward the throne. Varkesh's voice was drowned out by the chaos. His control was slipping, and he knew it. From the corner of his eye, Eli saw more guards pouring into the arena, armed with shock spears and plasma rifles. The beast turned toward them, its body low and ready to strike. Eli whispered one last command in the beast's language. With me, the two of them moved together. The beast lunged at the first wave of soldiers, its claws ripping through armor like paper. Eli used the moment to roll toward a fallen guard and grab a weapon, a long curved blade. The sand turned dark with blood. The air filled with the sharp scent of burning from plasma shots hitting the ground. Eli and the beast fought as one. It was not man controlling monster, nor monster protecting man. It was survival, side by side. High above, Varkesh shouted orders to his soldiers, but his voice was no longer the voice of a ruler in control. It was the desperate scream of someone watching his power crumble. The crowd's chant changed again. They were no longer united. Half screamed for the beast to kill. The other half called for the human to win. Eli's eyes locked on the throne. Varkesh was still there, his staff glowing, his face twisted in rage. The beast's tail slammed into a guard, sending him flying into the wall. Eli moved closer to the throne, step by step. Varkesh saw him coming and raised his staff for one final command, but before he could speak, the beast roared, louder than it ever had before. The sound shook the air, silencing the entire arena. Every alien in the stands froze. Eli looked up at the creature and saw it clearly now. The glow in its eyes was no longer Varkesh's red. It was a deep, burning gold. The chain was broken. The beast stood tall beside Eli. its golden eyes fixed on the warlord's throne. The crowd was silent now, as if the air itself had been stolen from their lungs. For years, they had seen the beast as Varkesh's weapon, a living symbol of his power. But now, that weapon had turned. Varkesh rose slowly from his throne. The golden staff in his hand glowed brighter, its crystal burning like a small sun. His face was calm, but Eli could see the truth in his eyes. Rage. The kind of rage that came when pride was wounded in front of thousands. "You dare take what is mine," Varkesh said, his voice low and dangerous. "Do you think a beast's loyalty makes you my equal, human?" Eli didn't answer. He stood still, gripping the curved blade he had taken from the fallen guard. The beast growled at Varkesh, the sound rumbling like distant thunder. "You are nothing," Varkesh continued, stepping down from the throne. "A stray animal in my cage. And now you've embarrassed me before my people." He glanced at the crowd. "I cannot allow that." Eli took one step forward, the blade steady in his hand. "You had your chance to let me walk away. Now it's my turn to speak." Tilted his head slightly. "Speak, then. Let your last words be remembered before I erase you." Eli's voice was clear. "I'm not here to kneel. I'm here to end you." The crowd gasped again, their whispers like wind over dry leaves. Smile returned, but it was sharper now. "Then come, show me how a human thinks he can kill a warlord." Without another word, he moved. For a creature so large, his speed was shocking. His staff swung down toward Eli's head with a flash of golden light. Eli ducked, rolling to the side. The staff struck the sand where he had stood, and the ground cracked open. The air hissed with heat. The beast lunged at Varkesh, claws flashing. But the warlord spun, striking the creature's side with the glowing staff. Sparks and blood sprayed into the air. The beast stumbled but didn't fall. Eli attacked, aiming for Varkesh's ribs. But the warlord blocked with the staff's crystal end. The sound of metal against crystal rang out like a bell. "You fight well, for prey," Varkesh said. His voice was steady, but his strikes grew faster, harder. Eli was pushed back, step by step, toward the edge of the arena. He could feel the heat of the staff's magic, each swing closer than the last. The crowd's noise grew again, split between cheers and shouts. The beast roared and leaped at Varkesh once more, forcing the warlord to turn. Eli saw his chance. He swung the curved blade, aiming for the back of Varkesh's knee. The blade cut deep. Varkesh staggered, his golden eyes flaring with pain. His roar shook the walls of the arena. "You dare wound me." His voice cracked like lightning. The warlord spun, striking Eli hard across the chest with the staff. The blow sent him flying back into the sand, the air punched from his lungs. The beast moved between them, lowering its head like a shield. Varkesh pointed the staff, and a pulse of golden energy shot toward the creature. The blast hit, sending the beast sliding backward, claws carving deep lines in the sand. Eli forced himself to his feet, chest burning with each breath. He could see it in Varkesh's movements now, the limp in his leg, the way his grip on the staff had tightened. The warlord was hurt, but still dangerous. "You can't win," Varkesh said, stepping forward. "You're a human in my world. Every breath you take is because I allow it." Eli's eyes narrowed. "Then you made your first mistake, letting me breathe at all." He darted in low, the blade flashing. Varkesh swung the staff to block, but the beast lunged from the side, slamming into the warlord's chest. The impact knocked him off balance, and Eli's blade cut across his arm, slicing through armor and skin. Blood, dark green and steaming, dripped into the sand. The crowd erupted in chaos again. Some cheered the sight of their warlord bleeding. Others shouted for his guards to intervene. Varkesh roared, striking the beast with the end of his staff. The creature snarled but didn't back away. Eli moved in again, keeping the pressure. Every strike was aimed to weaken, not kill, not yet. He wanted Varkesh to feel it, to know the human was not prey. Varkesh's breathing grew heavier. His eyes darted between Eli and the beast. "This is not over," he growled. Eli took another step closer. "It's over the moment you fall." The beast lunged again, forcing Varkesh to block high. Eli dropped low, slicing the blade across the warlord's injured leg. Varkesh roared, stumbling backward toward the throne. His pride, the thing he valued above all, was bleeding out in the sand. The warlord raised his staff high, the crystal burning brighter than ever. "If I fall," he shouted to the crowd, "I will take this entire arena with me." The crystal pulsed, sending waves of heat through the air. The walls of the arena began to shake, dust falling from above. Eli knew what was coming. A final, desperate attack. If Varkesh unleashed it, not only would Eli and the beast die, but every living thing in the arena would be destroyed. The beast roared. As if sensing the danger, Eli tightened his grip on the blade. "Then we finish this now." And with the crowd screaming, the sand shaking, and the crystal glowing like a star about to explode, Eli charged. The crystal at the top of Varkesh's staff burned white-hot now, spilling light over the arena like a second sun. The heat was so intense, Eli felt it on his skin, even from several steps away. The crowd screamed in panic, pressing toward the exits. Guards shouted orders, trying to keep the stands under control, but the fear had already taken root. Everyone knew what it meant when a warlord used the staff at full power. Destruction. Eli didn't slow. Sand sprayed behind his boots as he charged. Beside him, the beast thundered forward, its claws tearing deep scars into the arena floor. Swung the staff down toward them, and a wave of golden energy exploded outward. The blast knocked Eli off his feet, sending him tumbling through the sand. The beast roared in pain as its massive body skidded sideways, smoke rising from where the energy had struck its hide. The warlord's voice boomed over the chaos. "You think you can take my throne? You think you can take my people?" He slammed the staff against the ground. "I will burn this place before I kneel to a human." The crystal pulsed again, brighter than before. The ground began to crack. Under the force, Eli pushed himself up, coughing through the dust. His vision swam, but he saw the beast still standing, its golden eyes locked on Varkesh. The creature lowered its head, signaling without words, now or never. Eli nodded once. They moved together, charging again. Varkesh swung the staff, but this time the beast leapt high, its massive form crashing down on the warlord. The impact shook the ground, and Varkesh's grip on the staff faltered. Eli lunged in, slashing the curved blade at the warlord's wrist. The cut was clean, deep, and the staff clattered into the sand. Gasps erupted from the stands. The glow from the crystal dimmed, and the burning heat in the air began to fade. For the first time, Varkesh looked uncertain, not in control, not invincible. Eli grabbed the staff and raised it high. The crowd's eyes followed the movement. The symbol of the warlord's power was now in the hands of a human. From the far side of the arena, a soldier shouted, "He has the staff, take it from him." Dozens of guards poured onto the sand, weapons raised. Plasma bolts flashed through the air, some striking the ground near Eli's feet, others sizzling past his head. The beast roared and charged at the nearest soldiers, its claws ripping through armor. The crowd's panic turned to chaos. Some aliens jumped down from the stands to fight. Others ran in every direction, trampling each other in their rush to escape. The air filled with the smell of ozone and blood. Eli swung the staff, releasing a pulse of golden energy that knocked a line of guards off their feet. The weapon was heavy, but its power was like nothing he had ever felt before. It hummed in his hands. Alive, the beast fought like a living storm, its tail whipping soldiers aside, its teeth snapping through helmets. Every time it struck, more. Aliens hesitated to come closer. Somewhere above, in the luxury balcony, alien nobles fled through hidden doors. They knew the rule of Varkesh was ending here. Varkesh himself struggled to stand, his leg bleeding, his breathing ragged. He reached for a fallen guard's sword, glaring at Eli with pure hatred. "You think this will end with me?" Varkesh shouted. "You kill me, and another will rise." Eli stepped forward, the staff still glowing in his hands. "Maybe, but the galaxy will remember who fell first." The warlord swung the sword, but Eli blocked it with the staff's shaft, the impact ringing out over the arena. Sparks flew where blade met crystal. The beast moved in fast, knocking Varkesh backward. He stumbled over the cracked stone at the base of his throne and fell hard onto the sand. The crowd was no longer chanting for the warlord. Many shouted for the human now. Others simply watched in silence, knowing history was being made. Eli pointed the staff at Varkesh. "Call off your guards." Varkesh spat blood onto the sand. "Never." The beast stepped closer, its growl low and steady. Eli's voice was calm, but sharp enough to cut through the chaos. "Then they'll watch you die." For a moment, Varkesh hesitated. Pride and survival warred in his eyes. Then, with a sharp gesture, he barked a command in his own language. Across the arena, the guards froze, lowering their weapons. The crowd erupted again, but this time with a roar that felt different, less about blood, more about victory. Eli lowered the staff slightly, but didn't take his eyes off Varkesh. "You're done." The warlord's lips twisted into a final sneer. "For now, human, but the galaxy is bigger than you know." Before Eli could answer, a loud cracking sound echoed through the arena. The damage from the staff's earlier blast had weakened the walls, and now massive chunks of stone began to fall. "Move." Eli shouted. The beast spun, blocking falling debris with its massive body, while Eli ran toward the nearest gate. The crowd stampeded for safety, their roars and screams mixing with the thunder of collapsing stone. Through the smoke and dust, Eli saw the other human prisoners being herded by a group of frightened guards. Without thinking, he shouted, "With me," and waved them toward the gate. The beast cleared a path, smashing through broken walls and scattering anyone in their way. As they ran, Eli glanced back one last time. Varkesh was still in the arena, half hidden by smoke and falling stone. Whether he lived or died in that chaos, Eli didn't know, but one thing was certain: the warlord's rule was over. They burst out into the open air. The blood-red sky now streaked with black clouds from the storm overhead. The wind whipped at Eli's face, carrying the scent of freedom and danger still to come. The beast stopped beside him, its golden eyes scanning the horizon. Eli placed a hand on its scaled neck. "Not over yet," he said. The beast growled, softly, as if in agreement. Behind them, the arena collapsed in a thunderous roar, sending a cloud of dust high into the storm. The sound echoed for miles, a warning to anyone who thought humans would kneel. Asterisk, the storm rolled over the horizon, lightning flashing in the distance. The blood-red sky had turned a deep violet, and the wind carried the smell of rain and burning stone. Behind them, the arena was nothing more than a broken shadow, its once proud walls collapsing into heaps of rubble. Eli stood at the edge of the ruined city, the golden staff still in his grip. Around him, a small group of human prisoners, weak, injured, but alive, looked to him for direction. The beast stood close, its golden eyes scanning the streets ahead. Each rumble of thunder made it raise its head, as if it sensed more danger. In the distance, one of the freed humans, a woman with short black hair and a soldier's stance, stepped forward. "We should move before Varkesh's forces regroup. There will be more coming." Eli nodded. "They'll come, but not just for me, for all of us." From the top of a nearby wall, the distant sound of alien horns echoed, not the call to battle, but the signal of retreat. Varkesh's surviving soldiers were pulling back into the city's inner strongholds. The people in the streets, once loyal to the warlord, now watched silently as the humans passed. Some looked afraid, others curious. Eli's voice carried across the broken street. "You all saw what happened in that arena. Your warlord's beast chose to stand with me. His guards fell back. His throne is gone. That's not weakness, that's change." The aliens in the crowd didn't answer, but they didn't move against him either. The silence itself was a victory. The group moved through the city ruins, heading toward the open plains beyond the walls. Each step felt heavier, but also more certain. The storm above followed them, rumbling like a giant watching their escape. At the gates, a squad of alien soldiers blocked the way. Their leader stepped forward, his armor scratched and dented from the chaos. His weapon was raised, but his hands shook. Eli tightened his grip on the staff. The beast growled low, its tail twitching like a whip ready to strike. "You can try," Eli said to the soldiers, "but you've already seen what happens." The leader looked at the beast, then at the humans, then at the staff in Eli's hands. Slowly, he lowered his weapon and stepped aside. The others followed his lead. No words were exchanged. None were needed. The humans walked out of the gates into the open plains. The wind was colder here, carrying the fresh scent of rain. Once they were clear of the city, Eli stopped and turned back. The walls were jagged silhouettes against the storm, lit by flickers of lightning. Somewhere inside those ruins, the story of what happened today was already spreading. The short-haired soldier walked up beside him. "You could have killed Varkesh," she said. "Why didn't you?" Eli's eyes stayed on the city. Dead leaders become martyrs. Living ones become warnings. Lightning split the sky, and the beast let out a deep roar that rolled across the plains like thunder. It was a sound that would be remembered. Eli raised the golden staff, pointing it back toward the city. His voice was steady, loud enough to be carried by the wind. "Hear me," he called. "Humans kneel to no one. You may chain us, starve us, and hunt us, but you will never own us. Remember this day before you think of taking another human life." The storm answered with a crack of thunder. The other humans stood taller, some gripping stolen weapons, others just holding on to the hope that had been missing for too long. The beast lowered its head beside Eli, as if marking itself part of the same promise. They turned away from the city and began walking across the plains. The ground was wet from the first drops of rain, and the sky above them opened in a heavy downpour. For the first time in weeks, Eli let the tension in his shoulders ease. The staff was heavy, but it felt right in his hands. The beast walked on his left, the humans on his right. A strange formation, predator, prey, and survivor, all moving together. After an hour, the city was no more than a dark smudge on the horizon. The rain softened, leaving the air cool and clean. The soldier broke the silence. Where do we go now? Eli glanced at the horizon. Somewhere they'll never expect. Somewhere we can make them afraid before they come looking for us again. The beast let out a low rumble, almost like approval. In his mind, Eli knew this was not the end. Varkesh might survive, and even if he didn't, the galaxy was full of warlords, councils, and powers that saw humans as tools or prey. But the difference now was that a story had begun, and stories travel faster than warships. This one would be told in the shadows of alien bars, in the markets of distant stations, in the cold corridors of starships. They would tell of the human who stood in an arena, refused to kneel, and walked away with the warlord's beast at his side. And with every telling, the message would be the same. Humans kneel to no one. Eli looked up at the storm clearing above them. Somewhere beyond those clouds were stars. And beyond those stars, enemies who had not yet heard his warning. They would. He adjusted his grip on the staff, feeling the hum of its power. The beast walked closer, its golden eyes bright even in the fading light. "Come on," Eli said. "We have a galaxy to visit." The group moved forward again, their footprints filling with rainwater, their shapes growing smaller against the endless plains. But the roar that came from the beast as they vanished into the distance carried far past the plains, past the hills, past the storm, into the ears of those who would remember this day. And somewhere, deep in the shadows of the galaxy, someone who had never feared humans before suddenly wondered if they should.